Everybody wants to be that guy that ranks at the top of Google, right? Because if your business, if your website is coming at the top of Google, you're literally going to have leads and phone calls just pouring in all day. But here's what we've discovered. One, we know this. If you don't have quality links pointing to your website, you're never, ever going to rank at the top of Google. But even as important as link building is to you accomplishing this, we've seen that the vast majority of business owners have absolutely no idea why. And I'm going to tell you the reason for that is because most marketing companies, they want to inflate their egos. They want to complicate the explanation of everything. The less you know, the less empowered you are. And I guess they feel like that you're now in handcuffs and you will need them. So we've been asked this a lot, to help people understand what links are. So I'm putting this video together because I want to explain links in a way that even a 10-year-old can understand. So I promise when you leave this short video, you're going to know everything you need to know and you will no longer be in the dark. All right, so let's dive in. By the time we're done with this again, you're going to have a very clear understanding about what links are. You're going to know why you need them. And of course, this would not be complete if I did not give you some actionable ideas of how to get them. This knowledge is power, and this is exactly what we do internally to generate literally over 1.5 million leads a year. So let's start by answering the easy question. All right, what is a link? A link is simply a connection between the content of two different files. It's generally a clickable element on a web page that takes you from that web page over to another web page. Now, this could be taking you to another web page on your own website, but generally it's going to be to a third-party website. And in the example above that I'm giving you, you are seeing the results in Google. If I were to search for the search term best coffee, each of those blue anchor text is just a series of words and letters that make up, that's the anchor. It's the anchor text, if you will, that make up this link. It's a series of blue anchor text, that words are linked. And if we were to, when clicked on these links, they will then take you to a website or a web page. Of course, these are not the kind of links that people are building to their website. These are just ads and results presented from Google search. So what you're looking at now is a blog post that's on our website. And if you were to click those blue words that read Google Discover, you would be linked over from our website to Google, right? And obviously I'm linking this to a page where Google talks about Google Discover, the product. And ideally, this is what we all want. We want someone who owns a website to link from one of their web pages over to our page. Now, what people do a terrible job of doing is explaining, well, why do I want that? Why do you want links? And why does it supposedly lead Google to put you higher in the search results when you get them? And today, I want to make sure you fully understand this in a way, again, that even a 10-year-old would be able to understand. So to start out, we're going to keep this really simple, really simple. You should think of a link as simple as this. It's a vote of confidence, right? This is exactly how Google sees it, right? And I'm getting ready to explain to you why that is. Let me give you an illustration that I think it will help you connect the dots and understand this. Imagine that I recommend a restaurant to you. And for this discussion, we'll just say it's the Porch on Long Creek. And this is one of my favorite restaurants. Now, that gives you a little bit of confidence since I recommended it to you that this, well, it might be a good restaurant. So for the sake of this discussion, the parallel of my recommending the Porch Restaurant to you would be by the links in someone's website that points to your webpage. Because I'm recommending this restaurant, there's trust. But I'm just one person, so that's not necessarily going to be enough to convince you, right? Now, I want you to imagine 3 people recommended this restaurant to you. Now you're more likely to begin to have even more confidence that this may be a quality restaurant that, well, perhaps you should try. But let's take it a step further. Now imagine 465 people told you that the Porch Restaurant was awesome. There would be little doubt, if any, in your mind that this indeed is a very good restaurant. It's simple logic. The more people that are recommending this restaurant, the more confident you're going to be that it is a good restaurant. And as a result, the more likely you are going to be to refer it to other people as well. Now, that is how Google views links, as a vote of confidence, as a recommendation, as a referral. So as a side, by the way, I'm showing you this. This is exactly why Google loves reviews. Getting lots of reviews helps you to appear in Google Maps. So understanding the basic logic of why we have trust when 1 or 3, or for this case, 465 people recommend something. Let's now tie this into how it's the same method Google uses to rank your web page based on the links that are pointing to it. All right, so we tried to really make this a real simple, easy to understand diagram. So imagine I have a web page on my blog and I'm writing about best golf shoes. And my goal is I want Google to see a lot of people recommending me by way of links. And I want them to see that so that Google will consider me a trusted and authoritative source about who sells the best golf shoes. Now, let's just pause for a quick second before I proceed. Let me make sure that I don't send the wrong message. Before you build link number 1, I would make absolutely certain that I have really good content on my web page, right? In this case, if I were discussing golf shoes, I would be talking about all the different kinds of golf shoes. I would be talking about the pros and cons of those brands. I would have photos of those golf shoes. Google realizes when somebody is searching for something, if I'm looking for best golf shoes, there's a lot. What is my intent? Well, I probably want to see which ones are bad, which ones are good, why they're good. I want to see pictures of them. And more than likely, if I'm Googling that, I'm going to want to be able to buy them. So it might even put in some affiliate links from Amazon, right? This is just, it's so important that we're not just trying to link to crappy content, because in the end, nobody wins that, right? Google, even if we get you ranking to the first page or number 1 result in Google, Google will recognize if people are pogo sticking. That means they land on your content, then they bounce away and go look somewhere else. Google will recognize, this guy seems popular with a lot of links and votes, but boy, everyone seems to go back to the web and search again. So it means you're not fulfilling their needs, and eventually you lose all the authority that you worked so hard to get. So just keep that in mind. Takeaway, bottom line, get good content, put good content on your webpage for your visitors. All right, let's get back into this. Now, currently, there are about 28,000 web pages on the World Wide Web that talk about best golf shoes. In a split second, Google has to make a decision. Google has to decide which of those 28,000 pages should appear at the top of the search results when someone Googles best golf shoes. And without getting overly complicated in this lesson, we don't need to do that. I'll just say that one of the most important factors, hands down inarguable, that Google uses to rank websites will be the number of links that are pointing to your web page and the quality of those links. So let's say I've got one web page pointing to my article about golf shoes. And that would be the web page would be illustrated by the little orange or yellow circle that you see over there on the left side of the slide. On the other hand, let's say my competitor has an article on his website about the best golf shoes, but he has a ton of links pointing to his article. Keeping in mind, remember, a link is a vote of confidence. It is a recommendation. It is a referral, right? Just like the analogy with the restaurant, except this is now being viewed in terms of links. Who do you think Google is going to trust as the best result to help somebody who is looking for information about the best golf shoes out there? Well, of course, Google is going to trust what the people are trusting. Google will recognize that all of your recommendations, Google will literally look at all of these links to your competitor's website and say, I don't know why, but we've got 30 people who are willing to take a visitor from their website and lead them away to your website. You would never do that. Send someone off of your website where you're trying to make sales or get deals. You would not do that unless you really trusted where you were linking your visitor to, and that you felt like you were in some way helping them. So I want to give you, I really want to avoid getting too confusing. Google, there also will be looking at the value of those links that are pointing to your website. So for example, let's just say both you and your competitor have 100 links pointing to your website. The tiebreaker of who gets to rank the highest will most likely be the value of each of those 100 links pointing to your website. So let me try to put this in really, really, really simple terms. Let's say in this example, you have only one link pointing to your website. And let's also assume that your competitor only has one link. The next tier will be for Google to look at the value or the trustworthiness of that one link that's pointing to each of your websites. This gets very simple, I promise. Now, I want you to imagine that the one link pointing to your website, that it had 10 links pointing to their web page, where they had a link on their content pointing to your website. So immediately we begin to realize that that one link pointing to your website, it has a lot of authority because of all those links pointing at it, compared to the one link pointing to your competitor site that didn't have any links pointing to it. So more links equal more trust. So with that thought in mind, it is realistic that you could have 100 links pointing to your website and your competitor could only have 10 links pointing to theirs, and they still could outrank you if the authority of the rank of the links pointing to their site were actually better. And again, you usually don't have much control over links that point to other pages, but you do have control over the links that are pointing to yours. And again, just backing up, this is why, by the way, you should never be a sucker for these cheap link schemes that are out there. There's no shortage of people out there saying, $50 will get you 100 links or whatever. Look, in the end, Google is really, really, really good at not recognizing low quality spammy links, and they do not give them any authority. You would literally just be dumping money out there with nothing in return. It would be like me recommending McDonald's to you for fine dining. You could see right through me, and you wouldn't give me a whole lot of time if I was suggesting that. And likewise, Google sees right through low quality spammy links. All right, now for the $1 million question, how do I get links? So hopefully you understand why Google literally, this is their number one deal. Let's look at the links pointing to sites, and that'll tell us what they're measuring what other people think about those links or think about you, and why would they point to you. So assuming you've got your brain wrapped around that, hopefully we really made it simple. The next question, the $1 million question, how do I get some links? Look, there's so many opportunities in so many ways. We could never cover them. We couldn't cover them all in a 10-hour video. But I'm going to give you a couple of examples that are definitely, in some cases, difficult and time consuming. And then I'm going to give you a couple of examples that are very easily done and very effective. You can do the time consuming stuff yourself, and it'll save you a ton of money. As if you're doing this stuff, absolutely, it's going to save you a ton of money. But if you take that route, you absolutely can expect it to be a full-time job, because this is not a one it and done it type of thing. It's like you can't go to the gym and work out one time and expect to be buff. And if you do get buff, you can't get all built up, or you can't get all ripped up and then just quit doing just like that. Eventually, all of the hard work goes away. But I can promise you, your competitors ranking at the top of Google are always building links. And if you do that, if you don't do that, I'm sorry, you're absolutely not going to outrank them. It's just never, ever, ever going to happen. I think sometimes people just hope and hope and hope they're going to get out of bed one day and they're going to rank on Google. It's simply never, ever going to happen that way. So first, here are a few examples of the more difficult ways, but free link building ideas. This requires you to manually reach out to third parties, and you have to ask them. It can be by phone, it can be by email, but you have to ask them to link to you. So the easy way, obvious, just right out of the gates, if you know anyone, you have friends and family that manage a website or perhaps a blog, reach out. Ask them if they'll put a link on their website and link to you. By the way, I don't generally recommend reciprocal links. I mean, hey, you link to me, I'll link to you. This is how people rank better. It sort of washes itself out when you're doing those kind of things. So you just want a one-way link, hopefully pointing to your website. Another great thing you can do, and I always do this, we have certain organizations that we donate very heavily to, and you can betcha, I am absolutely asking them for a link, always. You will find that most people will have no reservations putting a link on their website, pointing to you, particularly if you're giving them $5,000, $1,000, $10,000 a year in donations. They will be happy. And I tell them exactly why. Just, hey, look, I love supporting you. I've got a selfish interest. That link on your website, it's no effort for you, but it means a lot to me, especially when I start picking up 5, 10, and 20 of these things. Now, if you have written an article where you're highlighting or recommending someone else's product or service that you use, then this is great, what we call bait, to get them to link to you. I'll give you an example. If I wrote an article talking about how awesome a certain bed and breakfast was, I would absolutely reach out to the bed and breakfast and I'd let them know, hey guys, I wrote a review about you. I stayed there and I just had to write this review, and it's 2,000 words. It's really awesome. People love it when you brag about them. And as a result, they are going to be very quick to put a link on their website pointing to that review that you wrote about them. Why? Because when people are looking at their website, considering them, and then you link them away to a third-party piece of content that says, this was the greatest bed and breakfast I've ever been to. They were the nicest, best food, best. It's good for their business. It's good for their ego. And that's why we call it bait. All right. If I write a really, really informative and helpful piece of content, for example, I do this great case study that is full of data and stuff that I took time to do research on. You're going to find over time, people will naturally find it on Google searches and they will link to it. And each time you get a link to that content, you go up a little more in the search engines. So for this reason, It is a good idea. In fact, it's a must to constantly be writing new content and publishing it on your website. So how about testimonials? I think this is great. This of course assumes we're not talking about like writing a testimonial about a monster corporation like Walmart, where you could never reach the contact person and ask them for a link. That's just crazy. If there's a product or service that your business uses, maybe it makes sense to write an astounding testimonial about it, how it helped you grow your business, and just really just get out there and tell your story. And then be sure to reach out to those people who own the product or service and let them know, hey, I love your product. It's done so much for me. We actually did a blog post and I wrote a review on all the things that it did for my business and how it helped us grow. Again, this is very similar to baited content. We could literally go on and on and on like this. There are so many ways to build links, but again, you have to do this constantly. It absolutely takes time. An example might be just another example. Let's say I own a real estate company and we work with a mortgage company that by the way, this is a true story from one of our clients. And we own a mortgage company, or we work with a mortgage company that always gets our customers approved for loans when so many other mortgage companies could not. I probably would write a blog post about mortgage loans. And you brag about this particular mortgage. I would write a blog post about mortgage loans, and then I would brag about how awesome this particular mortgage company has been for our clients, and maybe list some of the things that they did. I can almost guarantee you that the mortgage company would want to link on his website to show his visitors what we were saying about them. All right. For those of you who do not have time to do this 3-4 hours a day, possibly, or simply are not interested in making this your career because you want to run your business and not a digital marketing business, let's move on to the easy way of building links. We could make it real simple, and you can just simply go out and hire a digital marketing agency and let them do all of it for you. Digital marketing companies, they have the infrastructure already in place, and they know all the various techniques of building links. But again, this would not be a one-time, do it and forget it, right? You have to constantly have them building links. And I can guarantee you, again, anyone who's ranking on Google is continuing to work on this month after month after month after month, and they are impressing Google with the votes from these links that they are continuing to capture and grow. And sometimes if people do it long enough, it's really hard to outrank them. All right. If you feel like you have a decent understanding about link building, companies like ours, of course, we're going to tout ourselves, companies like ours, and in fact, there aren't many people that do this, but we offer some really cool do-it-yourself tools that allow you to basically do it yourself, but without any of this manual outreach, as we explained in the more difficult method. Meaning you would you're basically like filling out an order form, describing what you want or where you want those links pointed to, and we actually do all the work. This is a very affordable solution. But because the margins are so low on this particular product, at least they are with us, you would not get really any, I should say, I was going to say a lot, but probably not any customer service on that. It's just when you're making, 10% margins, it's really, that's what it's designed to do. It's self-serve, get in there, place your order, and that's it. We do the work. We send you the report when we're done. So you need to know what you're doing a little bit. It's really not hard. We have tons and tons of clients that use this all the time. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of exactly what I'm talking about so you don't walk away confused. If you were on our homepage on our website, Peak Marketing Service, that's without an S at the end, it's peakmarketingservice.com. There is a link in the top navigation bar that says DIY orders. That's DIY orders. When you click that, you will find several options where you can purchase content that we'll write for you. So if you don't want to write blog posts, you just kind of give us an example of what you want. We write those for you. We can write, we can order links, and I'll explain what some of those are and what they do. And I should point out that you always want a diversity of links. Do not ever go with one solution. Your links need to look natural to Google, and the way you do that is through diversification. All right, hands down, if you clicked on that link on our site, one of the products we offer, the most popular one and the most effective one for building your rankings is guest posts, because it's designed to help you get quality, authoritative links to your website so you can move closer to the #1 spot in Google searches. And this probably would be the one that you would purchase 75% of the time. So what exactly is a guest post? With a guest post, our team literally writes an article. You have no control over this part. We write an article that we think is somewhat related to your industry, where we could naturally put in a link. In the article, we're actually going to include a link that points to the web page that you tell us you want the link to. So our team will then manually reach out to multiple different people, asking them to publish that content on their website. Now, there is a benefit to them. I want you to think like this. A journalist always needs stories. Like, they love it when you reach out and say, hey, I've got a story for you. Well, the same thing, if you own a website, if somebody calls you up and says, hey, I've got free content for you, this will help you get more traffic to your website. Everybody needs content. So the benefit to them is they get free, professionally college level written content. When they publish it to their blog post, you then get the benefit of the link that was embedded there. How many links you're going to need to rank on page 1 of Google absolutely would vary based on your competition and how many links they have built. So you may need 4 or 5 links for very low competition terms. Maybe you're trying to rank for blue widgets or something like that. Or you may need 50 links. All depends on the competition and what they have done and how many links they have built. For example, if you were trying to rank for the term mortgage across the country, I can promise you there are tens of thousands of web pages that have been doing massive link building. Good luck with that. But if you were trying to rank for mortgage loans, Charlotte, North Carolina, you might get away with only needing 15 or 20 links to rank on page 1 of Google. But the bottom line is this: with the absence of links, you can forget it. It's just simply never going to happen for any keyword that has any reasonable search intent. All right, another popular product we offer is content syndication. Basically, each time you publish a new blog on your website, you can syndicate it. Content syndication service, it's just a great way to get your message seen on ABC, Fox, CBS, and NBC nationwide. Get your company message in front of thousands of readers with this tool. Syndication literally gives you a direct line to thousands of readers. Just submit your content, and we literally guarantee you that we'll get you published on 300 plus high authority news sites across the United States. And really, you can submit an order for this in probably 30 seconds or less. All right, and the third solution would be press releases. You would use this service for, I'd just say, crazy fast exposure, increasing sales potential and building trust with your prospects. A press release, it's just a company's official statement that is distributed to members of the news media for the purpose of sharing information, right? An official statement or making an announcement. Okay, so what are the takeaways here? The takeaways are very simple, right? Links equal votes. Links equal trust. Links are the equivalent of referrals, right? That's how Google views links. You will rank you will rank for competitive terms, or you won't rank for competitive terms in Google without these links. But you can rank for competitive terms if you continually build trusted, legitimate links to your site. You can build them for free. You can hire a digital marketing agency to do this, or you can do it yourself, right? You can do it yourself through some of the tools that we offer on our website. Anyway, hopefully you now have a clear understanding as to why you need links to rank on Google. If you found this video helpful, do us a big favor. Go ahead and be sure and like and comment below. Thanks.